Hello everybody, I am going to be making a short video here, and it's just kind of fuel for the mechanism that I approach, and it's I am going to be explaining how to lie, like literally the actual directions of how to lie. There are very specific ways to tell a lie, and once you identify that, it's the same way as a bank teller looking at uh, looking at a piece of money and knowing whether or not it's counterfeit, because there's only one correct piece of money and there's only one way of checking that it's the correct money. So I'm going to be telling you the correct way to identify if somebody is dealing you a lie. First of all, it will not necessarily have to do with the lack of truth. The story in and of itself will be the entire lack of truth, but it may contain entirely true concepts or occurrences that have happened in one way or another in different ways. And if you're creative enough with it, you can make a story that's mostly believable out of almost entirely untrue statements. And it can be mostly based off of which period of time you are applying those statements from, because it is a very mental focus to actually maintain the lie. You cannot let the person know the truth of the situation, right? That's the condition of the lie, right? And so really you have to maintain like an entire story yourself. And there's a specific methodology to that where the key is in the actual like kind of conundrum itself, that you don't let them know the truth. It's just to an extent, it's entirely just the stubbornness of deciding to do so, and then like it can be a good or a bad lie, right? And it's up to a person's discretion whether or not that lie actually works as what it is or not, and how far of a consequence it's gonna receive, and um, so the idea is to um, I don't know. Generally, there's an assurance in place. That's sometimes a red flag, is if there's kind of this assurance in place, dedicated to that story, um, and also it's sort of where you'd yeah, it's very integrated with the truths of life generally. Like most people don't try to just tell you things that you straight up know aren't true and try to convince you of that. There are pathological liars that just will just start kind of like almost how some people accidentally swear in their native language or whatever. Sometimes people just kind of bust out into these just random series of lies because like Like they're trying to just make you just kind of believe their delusions all the time, and so then they kind of just rest in that accidentally sometimes. So that's a good way to determine whether or not somebody's a pathological liar as well, because we all know some certain like identifiable lies to begin with, but yeah, those are the outlining features. Is that there there's generally kind of an open-ended portion to the statement, and if it leaves too much to be discussed, then that can raise questions for people. So the way people will sometimes shade over that level of extra added discussion would be essentially to just like test you on it. Just like an experienced liar would probably graduate with how far they can test you on on the extent of their lies, and then a less or not so much less, but I mean like the less likely that you would be to accept like the person's false story, the the more likely that they would integrate some sort of part psychologically, especially if they have if they have a relationship with you. I mean, during the conversation, where it would kind of indicate like that's an area that's touchy. Like for me, like you don't want to go there, type of thing. So it's a very psychological blended kind of mixture of both words and the emotional inflections of those words. It's almost like a potion or like a spell or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. That's about as condensed as I can get that, I think. So I hope that serves some of you out there well, because well, and I know that if you're listening, that it will, because it'll help you identify those. Well, first of all, like I said, there's the shading aspect of like that, like those emotional inflections that essentially like kind of try to control those types of results. And that'll more than likely directly help some of you avoid that if you don't already know that. So I hope that it reaches anybody necessary. And I mean, hope sounds like a weak word to me, but like I have absolute faith that anybody that this reaches will uh, have an effective uh, purpose out of it, I suppose. Thanks for watching.